Please give a warm welcome to Anna.
So, picture yourself on a beautiful beach. You are there, right at the water edge. You can listen the soothing sound of the waves, feeling the gentle breeze, even inhale the fresh air. And the sun warms your skin just right. Then something shifts. Clouds cover the sun, the light changes, you look towards the ocean and you see something you didn't expect. A swell, growing, rising, you look up, up. Whoa, this wave is massive. At least 8 stories tall, easily over 100 feet. And is coming straight towards the shore, towards you, fast. That wave, that's artificial intelligence. 100-foot AI wave. Disruptive, unstoppable, and life-changing. And is going to crash on the shore and reshape the way we work, live, and lead, whether we are ready or not. That's why we are here today. And that is why AI is the hot topic, and most programs have AI sessions like this one. But instead of giving you a list of prompts to ask ChatGPT, I like to prompt you with a question. When facing this 100-foot AI wave, how are you not going to get wiped out by it? And let me check a little bit here on the room. When you think about when most people, not you personally, most people think about AI, do they see the future as clear or as foggy? So in a count of 3, if you think that is clear, you say clear. If you think that is foggy, you say foggy. 1, 2, 3. Foggy. Yes, most people say it's foggy. And this is what usually happens when there is a big disruption. History shows us that. Can you imagine somebody bent over a candle-lit desk, keel in hand, copying a text 1 letter at a time? A book took months to be shared. Then what changed that? Gutenberg printing press. But could they have imagined that mass printing will ignite revolutions, scientific breakthroughs, and change our world forever? And how about when productivity was limited by daylight hours? And every evening you have to light a candle or an oil lamp just to see. Who could foresee that just flipping a switch, you could light cities and power factories? And how about who remembers to search over library card catalogs or articles on microfiche? Some of us have been there. How many of us at the time could have imagined that we will have the world knowledge in the palm of our hands? Technology changes everything, the way we live, the way we work, the way we connect. And AI will be more profound than every other human invention, including electricity, the internet, and fire. Some proclaim a brighter future, the end of diseases, robots that heal and care. Others warn us of a darker path, where is a future where machine turns on us. I'm very curious in your world, how is AI seen in your circles? More as a risk or as an opportunity? Again, in the count of 3, if you think that is a risk, if an opportunity, you say opportunity. 1, 2, 3. Opportunity. Whoa, love it. An optimist group here. Because the potential is massive. But for the ones that also think that the risks are a lot, it's also true. And no, we cannot stop the 100-foot AI wave. That is reality. But just because it's unstoppable doesn't mean that we are powerless. History shows us that with every great innovation, from the printing press, the electricity, think about nuclear energy, we face both uncertainty and possibility. And how we respond really determines, as individuals and as society, what is going to be the next era of work and life. So it depends on us. So do you like to learn how to ride these waters? Because today we are going to be exploring 3 mindset zones that you can use not just to survive, but to thrive during this AI disruption. Because we can build a better future of work, where impact and results can grow without burning people out, where a workplace can, besides functioning, also attract top talent and be full of meaning and purpose and engagement. It's possible if you use these tools right. So, we are going to be learning how to navigate these waters. And also, we have to start by being very honest about how all this disruption is already affecting us. And I would like to start again here with the room. How many of you have used a tool like ChatGPT in the past week? Just to have, yep, look around most of the room. It's the reality. So let's check how this room feel about AI. So you have a QR code there. Just pick your phone, scan it, and we'll take you to a very simple survey, or you have to put 3 words about how do you feel when you think about AI, your feelings. And just be real. So 3 words, there is no right and wrong answers, it's anonymous, so you can be real. And we will start to hopefully see them showing up there. Yes, I love when technology works. Excited, worried, nervous, automation, empowered. See all these emotions in one room? Keep them coming. Does anybody know someone that feels excited and nervous at the same time? I do. All these emotions, this word cloud that keeps growing there, is just a snapshot of this room and what is going on. And I can tell you that I see this every single time. Always a mix of emotions and feelings. And this mix, this contradiction, is not a problem. It's actually human. Brené Brown said, well, we can be afraid and brave at the same time. And what I have noticed in relation to this AI wave is that most of us are like in the shoreline, like points in a continuum. In one extreme, we have the overdrivers. They are all in, hyper-curious, inspiring, every new app, tool, tested before breakfast. And yes, sleep is optional. Do you know somebody like this? Maybe some of you are somebody like that. And it's amazing, but it's also exhausting. One of my clients told me that, okay, I'm all in, and I still feel like I'm falling behind. That is the reality. On the other extreme of this continuum, meet the avoiders. They are looking away. Hey, I was successful without this, so why bother now? Will not affect my work. There are many people in this category still too. The problem is not just by ignoring the wave is still there. That is the reality. And we know, this is from the World Economic Forum of Jobs Reports 2025, that 41% of employers worldwide intend to reduce their workforce because of AI in the next 5 years. That is the reality. So, we have to do something about it. And we have always been there, one way or the other, things get too busy, another thing to learn, oh my, that is really important. And what I wonder, maybe if you have a pen, you can use the pen, but otherwise just use your imagination. You have a worksheet in your tables, and there is this line, this continuum with the avoiders, in one side and the overdrivers in the other side. If you have something to write, mark where you see yourself. Closer to the overdrivers, closer to the avoiders. And if you have a team, where is your team? Because it's interesting to see that. And if you are second guessing yourself where to put on that, or maybe it depends on the day, that is okay, because this is not about judgment. It's really about raising the awareness about where we are, because awareness is where our agency begins. And the question becomes, is the goal the middle? Not too hot, not too cold, like the Goldilocks approach? It sounds reasonable. The problem is that Goldilocks was still in somebody else's house. She was still reacting to what she found, and reacting isn't leading. If we want to lead, we really have to take to heart this principle. I'm not the product of my circumstances. I'm the product of my decisions. And at the same time, we need to be gentle with ourselves. And here we can start by breathing in and breathing out and letting go of the expectation that we have to have it all figured out, because we don't. That is the reality. And there are good reasons why we have all these mixed feelings around AI. I have a PhD in psychology, and I can tell you that we are wired to fight, flight, and freeze when we face something that is uncertain and we don't know exactly how it's going to turn. That is the way that our brains and nervous system is wired. It helped our ancestors to survive. And it happens in an automatical way. Think about, even today, if you are walking in the parking lot, a car comes out of nowhere, it's a gift that you don't have to think. You just move. So the problem is not that we react. The problem is when we stay stuck in that reactive mode. When the fight or flight becomes our default mode of operation, and sometimes freeze, that is really, there is so much overwhelm of information that we just freeze because we don't know what to do. So we have to allow ourselves to build resilience to reset. Because it's only when we bring our nervous system to a balanced state that we can see more possibilities and we can decide other things instead of just reacting. And we are going to be seeing some of these in a moment. But first, we have to look to the costs of staying in the reactive mode. because there are a lot of people that are just reacting to AI. And let's go to the two extremes. The avoiders, the danger for them is not the tiger like for our ancestors. The danger for them is becoming irrelevant, is jobs disappearing. But the overdrivers are not out of danger either. Their jobs also can disappear, and besides that, they are paying other costs too. Think about all the hype that also is out there. Oh, you use this tool, you are going to save 10 hours of your week. You are going to be able to do things much faster. And then what is happening? A project that was reasonable to take 6 weeks now is expected in 6 days. A proposal that should be ready usually in the end of the week, but you have ChatGPT, so you can have it this afternoon ready. We are raising expectations. And do you know that here in the United States, an average worker gets 117 emails and 153 team messages every single day? Some of you, yeah, my inbox is somewhere around those numbers too. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of it nodding. So let's do another question here for the room. When you think about checking the emails, do you think that most people check the emails before breakfast or after dinner? So if you believe that is breakfast, before breakfast, you say breakfast in the count of 3. If you believe that is after dinner, you say dinner. 1, 2, 3. Both is perfect. It's absolutely both. We know that people are checking emails before breakfast and after dinner, and we are calling that the infinite workday. There is no stop, always going and going and going and going. And there is a problem with this, because we are treating humans as machines. Always on, always optimizing, always available. And we are not meant to be on like a machine 24/7. This is the fast track to burnout. This is a subject that is really dear to my heart because I work also in burnout prevention, and the numbers keep me up at night. We know this is a recent report from Moodle's 2025 of this year. Here in the United States, 2/3 of employees are in some form of burnout. 2 in 3 people. Even sport teams, football season just started. They have an off season. They have off days because they know that it's important for them to rest and reset. The same applies to all the rest of us, but we keep going and going like if we were machines. And besides the need to rest, we also need to have time to connect and meaning. Connection is really why we are here. It's what gives us purpose and meaning to our lives. And when we forget these human needs, we really are forgetting the advantage that we have over AI. Because our advantage isn't speed, isn't efficiency. AI can be much quicker in so many things. For instance, in medicine, it's incredible the advancements of AI. They can read a PET scan faster and better than a doctor. But if it's my scan, I want a doctor with experience, with kindness, to tell me what that means. AI can read 1 million spreadsheets before lunch. But can AI feel goosebumps when a story lands or laugh with your team to celebrate a win. AI cannot smell the ocean or feel the warmth of the sun or feel awe or wonder. We can. And these things, the goosebumps, the laughter, awe and wonder, are not distractions. They are really signs of a deeper and wiser part of us that we have to learn to listen to. There is my favorite poet, Mary Oliver. She has a question that cuts to the heart of this. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Just take a moment to consider this, because this is really our opportunity here to answer these questions for ourselves and for the ones that we care about when dealing with this 100-foot wave. So, if overdrivers are in the fast track to burnout, and the avoiders risking relevance, and Goldilocks is really not the solution, she's still looking to the way from the shore, how can we deal with this 100-foot AI wave? I'm originally from Portugal, and not very far away from where I was born, there is this village called Nazaré. We have heard of Nazaré before, a couple of people here. Is known worldwide nowadays because of big wave surfing, because in the winter they have 100-foot waves there. And they also have these people that go surfing these waves. And it's totally different type of surfing, because usually when we think about surfing, we think about the dude in California or Hawaii, in the surfboard, just him in the endless ocean. Big wave surfing is a totally different game. Just what's going on, and there is a documentary in HBO about this called The 100-Foot Wave that is amazing. But here's what it goes in big surfing in Nazaré. You see that? Maybe yes, maybe not. That little dot is the surfer. For them to be able to be there, they need jet ski drivers to take them to the right point of the ocean. They need people in the lighthouse, they call them the spotters, to tell them what are the right waves to be surfed. And of course, they have the emergency teams, just in case things don't go according to plan, what can happen. But the reality is that big wave surfing is not a solo game. Is a team sport. And if we want to take AI to create a better future, we have to see AI as a team sport too. Because there is our strength, is in collaboration. We have to see this as a team, because if we really want to take advantage of all these evolutions of AI to create a better tomorrow, we have to leverage our human advantage. I always say that the best way to tap into the AI potential is by tapping into your human potential. And that is what we are going to be seeing, 3 ways of doing that. Because at the end of the day, we humans are the key here. When I wrote my book with the name Mindset Zone, I define Mindset Zone as that place where our growth happens. That goes a little bit outside of our comfort zone, outside of our beliefs and our frame of reference, that allow us to really be more resilient and expand our universe. So I will going to take you into 3 mindset zones that we can use really to thrive during all these technological advancements. The first, I call it the inner edge. This is the self-leadership, our self-mastery. It's where everything begins, and the great thing is that you can start working on it like if was, think about this. This is a way of creating mental fitness that is very similar to physical fitness. If you think about physical fitness, do you ever climb some stairs and start to get breathless? And thought to yourself, oh, maybe I should go to the gym more often? I've been there. So mental fitness is very similar. If a small thing can derail your day, you know there is room for you to improve your mental fitness. And you can do it without leaving your chair. That is the great part of it. So another thing that you have on the worksheet there, you have a rectangle in gray. If you have a pen, you can write there the word reactive, because we are going to see this in action. If you don't have a pen, you can just imagine that you wrote all caps the word reactive, because you can do this with your imagination too. There is something happen when we write, but you also can do it with your imagination. So, in the paper or in your head, focus on the letter C. Okay? Now, imagine cutting it out from that place and bring it to the beginning of the word. Which word do you have now? Creative. Small shift makes a huge difference. This is what we are after. We are not wanting to reinvent everything. We are looking for the leverage points that create the big changes. And this is the important thing, because we really have to decide if we are staying in the reactive mode and being overwhelmed and just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, or if we move to a proactive mode where really we can be making a difference and creating a different path forward in terms of strategy and in the way that we show up to. So maybe many of you are thinking, yes, that is easier to say, but how do we do that? And maybe some of you are familiar with this quote. Between a stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is the power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. The problem is pressing the pause button that allows us to see the space, that allows us to choose our response, and that allows us to learn. We have to create that space. And the only way to create that space is by pressing the pause button. And this challenge probably was already true for our ancestors like 12,000 years ago, when we moved from hunter and gatherers to agriculture and farming. Because biologically, we are wired the same way. We are not much different than another human being living 12,000 years ago. What has changed during this time? It's the technology that we invent and the culture that we develop around it. That is what has changed. And now with the acceleration of change, we have to tap into another tool in our toolbox that we call the modus operandi, how we operate in the world, that we have the power to self-leadership and mastery, the inner edge to do something about, and really allow us to be more in the proactive mode that is essential. I have a PhD in psychology. I finished my degree in psychology in 1996, many years ago, and I can tell you, with all the decades of experience in human potential, this is one of the essential things. We have to learn how to press the pause button. And how can you do that? Since you are having your dessert, why not having a slice of pie? I developed the pie method as a way to teach leaders and organizations, and I've been teaching this for several years, including teams at Google, on how to learn to pause by practicing the pie method. And it's very simple. P is for pause. Easy. So how can you pause? one of the simple ways is breathe out fully as much as you can. Just that. Just breathe out fully and create a space. And what are you going to do with that space? Go to the I of the PI method that is all about increasing self-awareness. Because that is what really the magic begins when we start to allow us to have the time to ask the questions, I'm reacting to this, why? It's by fear of missing out, FOMO, or what are the underlying things that is happening here? By doing this, is this aligned with our goals? Or just because everybody else is doing this? We can increase our self-awareness, and then we are ready to the E of PI that is embracing experimentation, is deciding what is the one thing that we want to try and do it and take it as an experiment. Because when we are doing an experiment, everything is data. If something doesn't work as we have planned, now we have more information. So there is no failing, just more information to learn from. So if we practice this principle of PI, pausing, increasing self-awareness, and embracing experimentation, we start to be more on the proactive mode and be able to lead instead of reacting. And that is the key. So if you think that you can try some PI during this coming week, maybe tap on your table. Nobody wants some PI? It's easy, but we have to do it. So that is the first mindset zone. So the first mindset zone is all about this individual, the inner edge. The second mindset zone is moving from me to we. And do you ever notice that the capital letter M, if you flip it upside down, you have a W? That is a great reminder that human beings, we are connecting beings. We can do more in a group that we can do alone. We can do more together. Think about, we are not the fastest or the stronger animal in the planet, but we know how to collaborate with one another, and that is what allowed our ancestors to hunt bigger animals, to develop technology and systems like writing systems. And again, remember that facing the 100-foot AI wave, we are in a better place. What do you prefer? If you are facing a 100-foot wave, the AI wave, to be alone or with the right team? If we take this as a team sport, we are in a much better place. That is why I call this second mindset zone our collaboration edge. But we also have to recognize that there are issues about dealing with people and group of people, from teams to colleagues to people that we have to report to or that report to us. Like one of my mentors always used to tell us, most business problems are personal problems in disguise. It's true. And at the same time, when we take the time, and again, we have to give the time and the space to have the conversations, to clarify communication, to align our teams, incredible things can happen. And the fascinating thing is that AI is the example of it. AI was not one person that suddenly make a big breakthrough, was a team of people. For instance, in 2017, this article came out. The article is called "Attention is All You Need," and you can see the name of the people of the team that wrote that article. That is in the origin of ChatGPT and all the other chatbots that we use. They were the ones that introduced the transformer concept. ChatGPT, but generative, pre-trained, transformer. start with a team. And all these companies that are doing all this impact is not a one-person business. They are big teams behind. Another organization that I think deserves for us to pay attention to is called the Center for Humane Technology. And they are trying to bring a critical voice about AI in the sense of making sure that this technology development will be for the betterment of humanity and not the other way around. And one thing that I love is about the founders that have a very diverse background. One was a design ethicist, the other a dark matter physicist, and the other one was a technologist that became a mindfulness advocate. We need that diversity of views to be able to move forward. So now back to you. Who is in your team to help you ride the 100-foot AI wave? Do you have that team? And doesn't need necessarily to be in the payroll of your company. Can be people that you follow, peers, mentors. There is different ways of gathering this team, but I'm going to speak about several roles that you should consider to have represent in your team. And again, if you want to use the worksheet to write some of the names, I'm going to describe the roles. You have the roles names there too in the worksheet, but if you think about concrete names of people for those roles, you can write that down too. So who are the strategic thinkers on your team? Maybe it's the leader of an organization. But these are the people that are asking, where are we going? And does this make sense? We need them more than ever. Who are the technical specialists, the ones that transform these tools in something that we really can use to do something that really saves us time and not the other way around? Who are the human potential and resilient experts that help us not to get burnout in this process and develop more resilience? And who can you have as advisors, legally, security, and ethics? Because we need to pay attention to that, mainly if you are in industries that are highly regulated, you should have somebody like this in your team. And even if you are not in those type of industries, it's important to know what is going on in that level too. And who are your cultural champions? That making sure that the culture of your company is benefiting everybody there and the customers that you serve. So we have the first mindset that is all about the individual, the inner edge. The second mindset is about the power of the team, the collaboration edge. And the third and final one is the systemic edge. And by systemic, I'm speaking about those invisible forces, like in culture, that we don't see, but they are influencing our thoughts, our behaviors, everything, even when nobody is watching. It's like the little fish in the ocean that where it swims depends on the current, but is not aware of it. Usually the cultural forces that are systemic forces, we are not always aware of the true power of it. But when we learn a little bit about them, then we can influence the system and change the system in a big way. So I just want to bring this to our bones a little bit here with a very short exercise. In your phone, just go to a browser in your phone and type on the browser, like if you're Googling something, just these three words, why am I? Just that, go to, can be Chrome or any other browser that you use and type in the search box, why am I? And if in the auto suggestions that show up shows, why am I so tired, please raise your hand. Okay? Look around. Keep the hand up for a moment. I just want to the ones that type, and you can try this at home. For most of you will show up in the auto-suggestions, why am I so tired? Burnout is not just a buzzword, it's a reality, it's baked in our culture. But do you know this? Do you know what this is? The canary in the coal mine. A burnout individual is like the canary in the coal mine. In the old times, they had the little bird in the little cage. They took it down under to the mine. And what happened? No, when he started they didn't wait until they died, but when he started to behave strangely, they knew that there was toxic fumes, and they brought the canary and everybody else out there to the surface until they clear up the fumes. But if the burnout individual is the canary in the coal mine, what happens in corporate America? Somebody gets burnout. Oh, a turnover number. When the turnover number starts to affect the bottom line, oh, maybe we should put a wellness program, a resilience program, do something about. But do you see the contradiction? It's like we are creating these super canaries, and then back to the coal mine. Is anybody speaking about clearing the fumes? Not many. Like I said, it's one of the areas that I work is in burnout prevention, and this is one of the assessments that I do with organizations. And people sometimes, when they see these numbers, they say, not too bad, below 5% burning out, it's not too bad. Add the overextended, the disengaged, you have 2 in 3 people in some form of burnout. And only 33 really engaged. That is a problem. But it's not, with these numbers, it's not, the problem is not the individual, it's the systemic forces. And we can know the root causes that are creating these dynamics, and then we can together see how we can use technologies like AI to reduce these root causes and bring more people to the engaged quadrant there. That is where the magic will happen. But the problem with AI is that it can work both ways. It can get people even more overextended, even more burnout and disengaged, or it can bring more people to the engaged quadrant. Depends on what we do. Because the leverage of the systemic edge is changing the game. Who remembers the internet when coming out? At the time, we truly, many of us believed that was just a faster mail. Oh, I can send the message and goes immediately, another person can receive it. A faster post office. That was really a systemic change. Everything changed. Amazon is just not a faster bookstore. Airbnb is not a bigger hotel. YouTube is not a better TV. The winners of the .com were not that use these to do things faster, was the one that invent new games. Or think about the iPhone. When it came out in 2007, oh, many people were a pricey, cool phone. How many games were invented from it? Could rideshare exist without smartphones? Telemedicine, telebanking, social media became a thing with the smartphones that changed create revolutions and influence politics. So inventing, what are the games that we are willing to invent with AI? Because there is where the magic can happen. And remember that AI is a very, very fast car. So please have some idea where you are going, otherwise you can end up very far away in a place where you don't want to be. So let's use AI to do better, not just more. Because it's really an opportunity to do better work and create a better future if we use it in a strategical and intentional way. And in the worksheet, you also have some questions for you to ponder with time about these systemic forces. Now here, to bring us to a close, I have another QR code that takes you to a very short survey, so 1-minute survey. But if you put your email in the survey, I can send you some resources about the PI method, the ABC, that is the pathway from burnout to optimal performance, and also some resources, great resources about AI, and allow me also to have information on how to improve this talk. So I really appreciate that. And while the ones that want to fill out the survey do that, let's just for a moment go here in the room to what is, from what you have listened, what is the one thing that you have learned, or you found helpful, or you appreciate, or you're going to use or do. Anybody just want to share something? A couple of people. I have some books to give away. Who wants a book? Share something and you get the book. Nobody? Okay.
I learned how prevalent burnout was. I did not know the stats were that astoundingly bad.
Oh yes, they are.
Thank you.
My pleasure. One more person. One thing that you have learned or reinforced. Yes?
I liked your comment about no one's trying to clear the fumes.
Nobody's trying to clear the fumes. It's a reality, a sad reality that we can do something about. Because when we are aware of these three dimensions, of these three mindset zones, we can start to clear the fumes. And it's really important. So, you have my email, you have the email also in the worksheet, but just think, this 100-foot AI wave is already here. But you don't need to be wiped out by it. If any of these big technological disruptions in the past, it always give us a choice. Are we going to use these just as another tool to do more? Or are we going to invent new games? We have the opportunity to create a better future if we do it together. So thank you very much.